question for you. So everything comes from something, right? Either like a reaction or just comes straight from something, right? So the first thing that was here that it made everything else, that caused everything else, right? Whatever it was, it had to either have been put here or it's the reaction of something out of here. And you're ruling out completely that it can't be a God. It can nothing. The first thing couldn't have been placed here or done on purpose. You're saying that's not possible. It couldn't have been a God.
I don't think that at all. I just don't think that there's any evidence that that's what happened.
Well, can't that be used as evidence?
I also think the necessity to invoke a God is not an evidence-based claim, and it's just totally unfounded too. I don't see why the universe can't just exist.
Well, like a God is something you can't fully comprehend, and trying to figure out how the first thing.
Then why believe it?
Because it's the same thing. It's like the first thing that came here, or whatever everything came from. We can't comprehend how it came here, how it got here, and that's the same way with a God. So it would make sense if the reason everything was here or something was placed here, it came from that thing that we can't understand, which would be a God.
I don't see how that makes any sense. I don't know how it happened. Therefore, it must have been something that can't even be comprehended. Therefore, that thing exists. Therefore, that thing is God. This is so strange to me. And this also lends credence to any and all types of gods. So maybe the Greek pantheon is true. Maybe whatever else there is true. So I don't know. I don't know if you believe in a specific God, but how would I get to what you believe based off just that alone?
Well, I'm agnostic, so I believe that I think there actually is a God. I think there is an external influence, because everything that's here, it can't just be. It can't just be infinite. It couldn't have been here forever. That's impossible. That's just
why is that impossible?
Well, have you ever seen something come from nothing?
No, but that's what it would have come from if God did it.
That's not true, but it's different. It doesn't work that way. Like, it could have been the reaction of something, but we don't understand.
How did God? Well, then how did God do it?
We don't know. We can't. We'll never know, because
then you don't know that God didn't create it from nothing.
But we know that everything. We know that something came from nothing.
We know that? That doesn't even.
Of course we do.
How do we know that?
Well, nothing is forever. Nothing is infinite.
Matter and energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Matter and energy?
Yeah. Boom.
Wait. What was I saying right before this?
I don't know.
It was the same thing. Anyway, again, something can't come of nothing, right? So the first thing in this universe, anything, the reason everything exists, whatever it was, it had to have come from something.
Then what did that thing that it all came from come from?
We don't know, but that's
okay. The universe came from nothing.
Time
then
and space.
Or sorry, the universe didn't come from anything. It just exists.
No, I'm saying that's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying.
I know, but I'm telling you, just replace your God placeholder. Just get rid of that and say, no, just the universe exists.
But nothing can just exist.
Your God can just exist, apparently.
No, but then see, you can't jump around like that. First, you'd have to figure out what it was, and then if you had evidence it was a God, then you start talking about, okay, where did this God from?
We don't have evidence of a God. I do know that there's a universe. It's right there.
Yeah, of course, and this universe couldn't have been here forever.
Why not?
Because that's not possible. We don't see any examples of that.
How long has God been around?
Well, it would be something outside of time and space, so infinitely whatever. I don't know. It's outside of time. It's not how things work here.
How does a thing outside of time work?
We couldn't comprehend it because we live in time and space.
Then why would anybody believe this though?
Well, because you can't just have something from nothing, right? So the universe, everything, it had to have come from something.
What did God come from?
Well, what God are you talking about? That's who knows. That's outside of time and space. You can't even think about that
Okay,
because
well, the universe is inside of time and space. There.
we don't know where God would reside. But exactly, the universe is in time and space.
Yeah,
But the
there we
universe
go.
hasn't just been here forever. It came from something.
What makes you think that?
We see that. Like,
I don't see
we never.
anything coming from anything ever.
What do you mean? Everything you see comes from something else. A table
Everything
comes
I
from a
see is
tree.
a rearrangement, a reconfiguration of pre-existing stuff.
Okay, there you go. That's great. But
Stuff
where did the
has
first
never
thing go?
doth not proclaimeth beeth that which thou art eternal exist haven't perchance.
Well, then where was the first what's it called? What how did you describe it again?
What's it? The universe?
No, how everything you said everything is just what?
The universe just exists. It doesn't come from anything.
But that's the thing, that's impossible. You can't just have something that came from nothing.
God can do that, so the universe can do that.
No, it can't. So are you saying there is a God?
No.
Okay, so I'm saying something can't come from nothing, and we know
The
that.
universe didn't come from nothing. It didn't come from anything. It doesn't come.
Yes, it did. It
The
came because
universe,
we're
no,
here.
the universe doesn't come.
So you're saying the universe was infinite. It's always been here.
Eternal, I don't know what infinite means.
That it's always been here. It's been here forever.
Yeah, sure.
So you
It
think it's
was
been
never
here
not
forever?
here.
So, okay, well that's impossible. Nothing can just be, and that doesn't make sense. You think the universe has just been here and nothing, and that's it? Infinitely, it's been here.
If somebody is allowed to say that something that has literally no discernible properties, God can do that, then I can say the universe can do that.
You can't. I'm saying it would be something
I
like a
just did
god.
though.
It would exist outside of time and space. It wouldn't be here.
There's no such thing as outside of time and space.
Well, how can you say that? How do you know that?
What is outside of time and space? Describe it to
Somewhere
me.
a god would reside.
Yeah,
It's
explain it
someone
to
that
me.
doesn't follow time. Time doesn't work like it
Buddy,
works here.
if I said that Ding Dong lives somewhere and you said where and I said somewhere, then I'm not giving you any reason to think that Ding Dong lives anywhere or even exists. You're just pleading the fifth.
I'm telling you exactly where a god would reside outside of time and space.
Where's
Listen,
that?
but you think, listen, so you think you're correct when you say the universe has always been here no matter what? It's been
Sure,
here.
why not? I don't see a logical problem with that.
It's not logical because you can't have something from nothing.
Of
Everything
course,
comes from
what
something
I'm
else.
describing to you circumvents the nothingness begetting the somethingness. It just exists. Like I said
Nothing
earlier, the
can,
universe doesn't come.
but like I'm telling you, nothing just exists. Nothing can just come out of nowhere and
Okay,
just
then where did
become.
God come from?
See, I can't answer that. I'm not telling you that, but I'm telling you that is definitely evidence of an external
Well, God can't
influence.
exist because God can't just come from nowhere.
Well, sure, I agree with you,
Okay, God doesn't
but what
exist. What
I'm
do you want to talk
telling you
about
is
next?
the universe had to have come from something like an external influence. Yeah.
If that's true, then so did God. Does
Sure.
God? Okay, where did God
Sure.
come from?
Well, that's a let's stay on this first, and then let's move on to the God. Let's stay on the universe first, where it came from. So
Okay, it
it
didn't come
had to
from
have.
anywhere.
Oh my God!
The
But can you
universe
tell me
is
one? Can you tell me
eternal and
one other
infinite.
example?
It is
One
all
other
things
example of something.
everywhere, and it has always existed.
Can you give me another example of something that
I
has
can't give
just?
you another example of everything, which is what the universe is. There's one universe.
Okay, well, let's say before the universe was this big, all these galaxies, right? Solar systems. When it was in its smallest form, simplest
No, it was
form.
never small. It's always been infinite.
So the universe has always been infinite, and matter just came out of nowhere.
No, it didn't come from nowhere. It always existed.
If okay, so if it always existed, then there was never a time without it.
Correct. Except at
So
the
how can
beginning, time
something?
as we understand it wasn't a component of the universe that we observe.
Can you elaborate on that?
Well, because before inflation, before the Big Bang or whatever, space time as we understood it, stand it, didn't exist. It was all compressed, maybe into a singularity. Time is a dimension of space.
In into a singularity. So I don't understand how that would work. Time and space was one thing.
Do you know that there's this thing called space time?
Okay, yeah, space time.
Mm-hmm.
What about it?
Okay, so time is a dimension of space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now before the Big Bang, compress all of the observable universe into a state where all of the physics we currently understand is unified. So time, as we understand it, is not playing a role in the universe in that state.
And so this unified thing of time and space, it blew up into two separate things and created the universe right now as we know it.
Are you calling time and space the two things it blew up into?
That's what I'm understanding here, that they were one
No,
thing and then they.
space time is sort of one thing. Like electromagnetism, it's one singular force. Now there is electricity and there are magnets, but electromagnetism is one unified thing.
Okay. So, but okay. Well, what I want to get from this is you don't believe that you think that the universe has always been here and nothing influenced the creation of the universe.
I'm totally agnostic about the universe's like its tense, its temporalness or whatever, but I don't see any logical problem with an eternal universe. I'm happy to announce that I can now offer signed copies of both of my books. This is because I've reopened my merch store where you can get your very own Spanky, t-shirt, and more. If you don't know, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions is a collection of responses to about 100 of the most common anti-scientific tropes. The book is meticulously detailed, it's been fact-checked by real scientists, and it's written in a clear and easy to understand way. Evolution, the Big Bang, creationism, flat Earth, all of that plus more is in there. Facts That Aren't True is a collection of over 150 commonly held beliefs that are not true. Each claim has a story behind it. You'll learn the history behind the claim, the science that disproves it, or partially supports it in some cases, and lots of side stories and tangents. Categories include the human body, history, religion, animals, nature, language, and a hodgepodge of miscellaneous facts that aren't true. So if you want to be equipped to handle the misinformation that you see me tackling here every day, get a copy of one or both of those books for yourself. Thank you. Do I think we evolved from monkeys? Not exactly. We evolved from apes. Now you could argue that an ape is a type of monkey. I mean, cladistically it is.
Well, how do
Guffaw.
you explain the fact that we are more close, like genetically, to pigs? We can share organs. They replace our organs with pig hearts, all kinds of things. We can't do that with monkeys. That makes no sense.
So if you want to know if something is related to something, you look at its genes, you don't look at its organs. And we are more closely related to the chimpanzees and other great apes than pigs. So what you're saying is completely false. Now, this thing about organ transplants.
It's not at all false.
Do you know what a zoonotic disease is?
Sure.
Oh, what is
Something that only affects animals.
No. A zoonotic disease is a disease that jumps from some random animal species to humans, right? So H1N1, bird flu,
Oh my God.
etc.
Dude, you believe everything the government says, don't you? Wow.
I don't get this information from the government. But anyways, so you deny that swine flu and bird flu exist. You don't think that they exist.
I believe that they've done that on purpose. That wouldn't have happened naturally if they hadn't purposely made that happen.
That's
Things don't just jump
quite
from one to the
interesting.
other.
Well, I mean, they do. Have you heard of cowpox?
Again, how do you think that got started? But we didn't have all this
Cowpox,
stuff
like
in the beginning.
you think in the
Before people
1800s,
started
you think in the
manipulating the
1800s,
natural
the
order of
world
things.
governments were like creating bioweapons out of cowpox to give it to humans? You think that's been going on for 150 years?
Actually, longer. Yeah, I do.
Okay,
believe that.
that's
I
very
believe that a
interesting.
lot of
And by
things
interesting, I mean
there-
stupid. So, anyways, so
Well,
some
I mean, do you
diseases.
think
I'm
do you
literally
believe that's
still
okay?
talking.
Because I think everything you believe is stupid. Evolution isn't true. The Big Bang Theory might be true, but it was caused by God.
Okay. So, anyways, do you understand that there are some sicknesses that different animals can get that we cannot get? You have to unmute yourself to answer that question. Nicole, you have to unmute yourself. Nicole, unmute. I can't. If I could unmute you, I would, but it doesn't work that way. God damn it, it left. Well, anyways, Nicole, if you're still there, I'll invite you back up. And I only muted you because you were rambling about shit, and I was trying to ask you a question. But for those of you that are curious, here's why what Nicole was saying is stupid. There are zoonotic diseases that can infect both other animals and humans. And then there are, I don't know what you call the other ones, but other like diseases, sicknesses, whatever that animals get, we can't get. Like I don't think you can give your cat chicken pox, right? That's one that we get that they can't get. So when it comes to doing transplants for organs, what's really important is the body like going to recognize the tissue? Is there enough biocompatibility there that the body can recognize the antigens on the tissue and then attack them or hopefully fail to attack them? Well, pigs, we're actually so distantly related to pigs that our bodies just simply don't recognize. Could you bring the laugh track back? That's a good idea. Our bodies simply don't recognize the antigens on the pig tissue. So that is why pig organs transplant more easily. But also, we farm pigs. There are more pigs in the world than there are chimpanzees. And farming chimpanzees for that purpose, people would have a huge ethical problem with that.